Welcome to Midlife Mix.
Am I your first Canadian podcast?
Oh my God. And they say you always remember your first.
Both things can be true. He's cheating on you. He's busting up your barbershop. Welcome, Carolyn Gray, to Midlife Mix. It's so good to have you.
Thanks, Rachel. It's great to be
All
here.
right, cheers. Happy New Year. I mean, how much longer can we say that? But let's roll.
Happy New Year.
Okay. So I met you when, and you still do this, you are an amazing creative director, graphic designer. You've had such an impressive career. So you worked on some of Canada's most major consumer magazines. But what impresses me most about you, Carolyn, is your ability to pivot and adapt and embrace that entrepreneurial spirit that you have, because it's not easy to do. So we know what happened with magazines and editorial, right? Budgets got caught, magazines closed. We had major publishers selling off their magazines, getting out of the business. And you were so smart because you pivoted and you then went to businesses and you said, let me design your decks for your presentation decks. Let me design your event promo. Your work was at Times Square. And the bright lights of Times Square, that's huge. You've worked for Yale. I'm just in awe because, you don't let anything get you down, in which that's sort of the world of entrepreneurism, right? It's up and down. It's a huge roller coaster. And, from the outside in, people would think, oh, must be doing amazing, financially, because if your work is in Times Square, you must be doing something right. And of course, you were on this side of the border, you were doing amazing as well. Your work was, on the front of Casa Loma, all the rest. So what was really happening? Like, were you okay at that point? Or, everybody juggles things. So
Yeah, that was such a beautiful introduction. It actually was really so lovely to hear you say that because, we're our own worst critics, right? And I've always sort of felt like, I haven't been enough when, to hear you say that, yeah, my work was in Times Square, my work was on Casa Loma, and I did work at these amazing magazines, and I have had a really amazing career. It's so nice to hear that because, often I think I suck. So yeah, I transitioned, as you said, like from magazines, and I loved magazines. And the beautiful thing about magazines is they happened every month. So I've been a freelancer basically my whole career. I started at Fashion Magazine, but that was my last real full-time job. And I've been freelancing since I was like 22 years old and made a lot of money because magazines came back every single month. They were reliable. And then, they went out of business. And that was a huge shock. And I transitioned as best I could. I started doing pitch decks. And then I unfortunately encountered a business. I listened to someone else's opinion versus my own instinct. And I pivoted in the wrong direction. And I started doing design for other businesses, like small businesses, and encountered some really nasty people. And I was making so much less money than I used to, and dealing with people who were just taking advantage of my time and my willingness to try to help them. And I needed to do something else because I was financially struggling. And, now everyone goes to Canva. Like, everyone can design their own stuff. So I had to do something different.
So in 2022, you took an amazing pivot, a huge detour from the world of creative direction and graphic design. And what was that?
I started doing OnlyFans.
Okay.
So actually, it was my husband's idea. So I've been married to my husband for 16 and a half years. And we have 3 kids who 2 of them are teenagers and 2 boys, and our girl's 10. And it was my husband's suggestion. He's like, you take sexy photos. Like, why don't you try OnlyFans? And of course, like I was totally naive to what it was all about. I was like, yeah, sweet. I'll just post some tit pics and guys will pay $30 a tit pic. And it's not like that at all. But like the real reason I did that is, my industry shifted. Like my industry didn't exist anymore. Magazines didn't exist anymore. People were really in this position, of investor decks, which is really like what I love most doing. They were doing them themselves because like Canva was new. And then, I had this client and she was like the fucking devil in disguise. Like just like literally the worst experience of my life. Like I was in Paris with my mom, my daughter, and I was like being harassed by this like psycho client because she gave me $7,000 and she thought that she owned me like literally for eternity. And I was like, you know what? I do not like, I don't play like that. I'm not doing that. So by doing OnlyFans, it was like this really empowering way to take back control of my time and my energy. That was really what it was about. It wasn't about the money. It was I control what I give energetically, time-wise, emotionally, and yeah, fuck you. You want to see it? I pay for it.
I love it. So tell me, how did it all start? Like, how did you even know how to start? Like, bring me back to the beginning. How did it happen?
I actually don't remember how I found out about OnlyFans. It's something I never thought I'd do. I would totally describe myself as like very unphotogenic prior to doing this. I didn't really take selfies. I wasn't really like I didn't take photos. And then I don't know. It was a bit of a process to set up OnlyFans. And, that was my first okay. Like it was hard for me to set it up as a creator because, I have to verify so many things and like the whole platform is so archaic. And then, it took a while to get set up. And then I started taking photos. Like my photos are really, like my background's editorial, like magazine creative direction. So my photos were like I would just do photo shoots by myself, but like really interesting lighting, like very much not revealing. Like I really don't reveal a lot. Very sophisticated, like elegant and like artistic and like, but also like sexy, like super fucking sexy, but tasteful. And I quickly realized on OnlyFans, like anyone who's in the top 10%, I got to be about, I think it was like the top 1.3 or 1.4%, but anyone that's in the top 10% has an agent. So I was like, why aren't I making money? Like it was this weird thing. Like I thought I was just going to post photos. And then I realized that it's all chat based. Like it's all like you have to chat with every single user and everything you sell is like a negotiation. Like you want to, it's like, so like I'd be texting people and be like, what the fuck? Like I've been talking to this fucking rando guy for like an hour and like, I'm not selling anything. Like it just didn't make sense. So then I was introduced to the world of agencies and, just like, and then it was like a light bulb moment of like, this industry is like so fucked up and so overdue for disruption. So why not be me to do it?
So before you went ahead and started it, did you tell people that you were going to do this?
So I'm pretty open. Like I have a close friend group and like, yeah, they totally knew about it. How I actually started was on Instagram. I started just doing like these really creative photos of like just like a series of like just holding plates and like kitchen utensils and like just not showing my nipples and just showing my like everything else. And so people were like, curious about that. And my children were like aware that like, mommy was like being creative. But I've always been pretty open about it. Like it's just not something that I've felt any shame about whatsoever. That's not, I've been really surprised actually how many people are like totally intrigued, men and women. Like, you're an example of like, this is really like, there's more to me than what it seems, like there's more to it than just like the nudity. It's not about that. It's really quite empowering.
I would think that it would be empowering because people post sexy videos and photos of themselves all the time, Instagram, TikTok, not expecting to make any money off of it, but just doing it because it makes them feel good about themselves or, self-esteem or what have you, or just because they like to. Like, who the fuck cares, right? And I think when you take control of the narrative, which I think is what you're doing, I feel like it would be an empowering thing. And so anybody who might have an opinion otherwise, I would think maybe they're not thinking about that aspect because, they say people are, or opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. So was mostly everybody supportive that you told?
I was really shocked actually how many people were supportive, but not just supportive. Like, oh my God, I want in on this. Like, I gave some of my clients a heads up. I'm doing this. Most people know. I haven't revealed it to absolutely everybody, but like I've revealed it to my mom. I revealed it to my like Polish mother-in-law. And like, she's like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. This is amazing. I've revealed it to moms at school just because, I was like, I wanted to get ahead of it, right? Just a heads up, like, if you hear about this is actually what's going on. Like, there's actually more to it than what it seems. But, a dance friend, like my daughter's dance class, like that mom was like, oh, can I do it? I told some of my clients, they're like, oh, can I be investors? Like, not only just being approving, but like, I want to be involved. So I would say 90% of people have been supportive. Like 50% of people want to be in on it. And like, there's 10%, I'm a bit shunned by the mom crew at school, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. And I say that, it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. It's very like, I don't know, I'm pretty open. Not everybody is. And I'm trying to show my kids like I'm doing something unorthodox. I'm doing something that's risque, but I feel empowered. Like when I shoot videos or images, like I love it. It actually brings me a lot of joy. Money to me is like numbers. It's always been like, that's not a new thing for me. I think it's just ones and zeros that you just move around and figure it out. It's not about that. It's like, it's exciting and it's fulfilling and it's fun. And now I'm trying to pivot again into something that actually like makes people feel good.
So you had to have those conversations, like you said, with your family beforehand to get ahead of it, which I think is really smart. Is that how you sort of, skewed the conversation, that you were doing something very empowering and almost artistic? It is artistic. Mm-hmm. And what was the reaction? Because you have tweens and a teen, yeah? Or
yeah,
teens and a tween.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So when I started 2 years ago. And my kids were 13, 11, and like 7 at the time, almost 8. I was concerned about my eldest. I thought that he would have an issue with it. And, they don't know the full, like, they don't know, like, they don't see any OnlyFans content. They don't see anything like that. But they get a sense of what I'm doing. Really unbothered by it. But, my middle child, his friends did discover my TikTok account, and that has been hard. That has been really hard. They're sort of having a field day with it, and it's hard on him. So I'm trying to do what I can to sort of to fix that. So, I was really naive when I started. I didn't really realize sort of the reach that I would have, or the interest, or even how like a lot of the technology, like how TikTok works, and you just press one wrong button, like notify your contacts. Like I just probably like one time I was uploading a video and it was getting stuck, and I just like hit yes instead of no, and I think it just kind of synced with my contacts, and like maybe my son's dad's friends who he carpooled with like stumbled on it. And so it has been really hard for my middle child, who's like now 13 and going into high school. And we're trying to make it okay with him, but it hasn't been awesome for him, yeah. But he's also, learning resilience and seeing me persevere through something that is very challenging and has been hard. And there's benefits to it as well.
So let's say a few years down the road, your daughter is 18. If she comes to you and says, Mom, I want to try this, what would you say to her?
Yeah, like, let's set up a shoot. Yeah, she's actually, we've talked about, not really if your friends find out, when they find out, and what would you say? And like, be like, yeah, it's great. Like, my mom's doing her own business. Yeah, I mean, I think our bodies are like, we're so shamed, and it's really unfortunate and unnecessary. There's so much shit to worry about in the world. We shouldn't be worried about how other people perceive what we're doing with our bodies. Like, I take beautiful photos that when I take them, I feel good. It's not for somebody else. If someone else wants to, if I can monetize that, sweet. But if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So if she likes it, if she tries it and is like, oh, this makes me uncomfortable, then stop. But if she tries it and she's like, oh, this is amazing, then yeah, we'll take her shopping and get some new clothes and buy her outfits.
Okay, so let's go to the launch. You launch it.
Yes.
Okay. It must have been a learning curve and a learning process, I imagine. Just the tech part of it. Like, I would have no clue. Like, the only way I found out, because, we worked together previously, we still do, and because you're in my contacts.
Right. You're
And
talking about OnlyFans.
Yeah. And you popped up on my scrolling for you page. And I was like, oh, there's Carolyn. And I was like, oh, well, there's Carolyn. And you were like, and it wasn't anything salacious. I had a bra on. You were like stirring oatmeal or something. And I just remember like being enthralled to be like, why do I want oatmeal right now? But I was like, good for her. So it goes.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know what everybody wants to know. And that is the money. So did the money start rolling in right away? How does that all work?
Oh, it is a hustle. It is just like anything else. It is, unless you're a celebrity and then you have an automatic audience. No, it's a lot of work and there's a huge process to it. So it's like, getting all your TikTok accounts and if you really want to make a lot of money, you are putting in 6, 7, 8 hours a day of like, TikToking, your social media, pushing from TikTok to your Instagram to your OnlyFans, and you have help. You have other people who help market you, and it is people can't find you on OnlyFans, which is a big issue. Like, even if I wanted to be found, even if you knew like my screen name, even if you know like MILF. Like, you can't search on OnlyFans. So every single person that goes there, you have to direct them. So it is like a massive lesson in marketing. So like, I learned so much about online like socials. Like, if you told me to 25 months ago that I was going to be on TikTok, I would have said like, there's no fucking way. Like, I've actually never been on TikTok. I post and ghost. Like, I never swiped on TikTok, but I know how to get a shit ton of followers on TikTok now. I know Instagram, I know like now Patreon, I know OnlyFans, and but the money's there for sure. I'm not a celebrity, so the top I made was like 1.3%. So I think that was like my account was taking in like 5,000 a week, but that's it also is highs and lows. Pre-Christmas is really big, and then everyone has a spending panic, and then January and February is really slow, so it's not consistent. And there's costs involved. You have to pay people to help you manage your account if you want to be successful. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like I wasn't selling $30 tit pics. It's a process.
Yeah, but that's still good when you think about it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Like,
that
if
was
can,
like the
you're
best.
bringing in $20,000 a month.
Well, that was an unusual.
You do have costs associated with that, as you mentioned. Like, you have to pay your agent and pay, the cost of producing the content, but still.
No, that's great. Yeah, and you know what? If I was satisfied with only doing OnlyFans and I had done that consistently for the last 2 years, I would easily be making $50,000 a month. But I want to do more than that. So
right.
So yeah.
Well, you're an entrepreneur. And you're a
very much
smart
am.
businesswoman. I know this is about you. And you tapped into the fact that OnlyFans brings in $6.63 billion a year.
Yeah.
And you decided that it's not enough just to do OnlyFans because there is a whole market that you still could tap into and perhaps make more of an impact, maybe be more aligned with who you are as a person, because you are really big into spirituality and mindfulness. So tell me about your new venture.
So with my experience with OnlyFans, I was realizing, like, I had an agency, and they, sometimes people, work on your account, and like, I just noticed the conversations were so like sleazy, like the things that women, like that men think women want to say there. Like what it's like, oh fuck yeah, like come on my tits. And it's just like, are you not like all bored of that? And my account wasn't doing well one week. And so I took it over personally, and I was like, how are you feeling today? Like what's the best thing? Like what's going on in your life? Like what's like tapping into people's emotions and feeling. And my account just like skyrocketed that week in terms of revenue. So that to me was like this amazing moment where I was like, okay, like sensuality is like, sex sells, so much money on OnlyFans. But like I personally, like I'm, as you said, spiritual and like quite like a soft person. And like I love going to yoga. I go to yoga like 4 or 5 times a week and like meditate. And like, how can those worlds meet? And so like that was this really interesting situation where I started to talk to people about like deep breathing and like slowed it down. It was more like sensual instead of like here's fucking everything. And so I started a business. So I started TAP. So it's tits, ass, positivity, and it's blending sensuality and mindfulness. So it's like bringing two worlds that have like really everyone has like thought that they were really like opposed to each other, but they're actually it's the same energy. Like sensuality and mindfulness is like two sides of the same coin. And so yeah, I've been building this business now for 1.5 years, and we launch like really soon.
And what was your motivation behind it? Was it just the fact that you noticed the revenues were down that week and you wanted to try something new, or?
I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur. I love business. I've always been fascinated by business and trying to. It's not about the money for me. It's always just like figuring it out. It's like a puzzle, and there was just a lack. Like the men were frustrated, and I think that men have been trained to think that like very intense sexuality is like what they want, and like that's what they should want. But really it's like the more seductive, like the more sensual, like less is more approach is so much sexier. But from the time like anything on like Pornhub, it's so graphic so quickly, so it's so intense so fast, it's like so vulgar. And that's fine. Like I don't have a problem with like vulgarity or like yeah, like say whatever you want. That doesn't bother me at all. But the time leading up to like it is actually sexier. Like trying to teach people to like use that energy and like you can. So like the whole point of TAP is using sensual imagery, like sexy images that are tasteful and beautiful, and teaching, like using that opportunity to uplift people and like making them feel motivated and like actually good about themselves. Like people use OnlyFans and it shows up on your credit card as OnlyFans, and people are like mortified. Like no one says, like no one's proud or like excited to tell their friends that they're on OnlyFans for a user or a creator. Like both parties are totally shamed by it. It's really embarrassing for users and creators. Like I want to create something where like people feel like positive. They feel like good about themselves. They feel excited, and like the women have a voice. Like on Tap, women write articles. We tell men like how to make real life connections. It's almost like you use Tap and you graduate. Like you use it and you become more confident. You feel empowered. You feel uplifted. You learn how to like rebuild your relationship with your wife or your girlfriend, or how to meet a woman in real life. So it's like getting out of this like fantasy land that OnlyFans is, where like you have relationships that are like totally artificial. Where Tap is like fall in love with yourself. Like men were falling in love with me as Elizabeth Bloom, and like she's not really real. Like she's not real at all. Like I want people to fall in love with themselves and then like have this good feeling that they get from the app. And like they come to Tap and they, you know, there's super sexy stuff, but they also feel good. And then that has a ripple effect when like their partner feels good and like their coworkers feel good. And everyone just like feels more uplifted instead of like shitty and ashamed.
Did you feel shameful doing the OnlyFans?
I didn't feel shameful with anything I was creating, but I felt shameful with like the way that I was being portrayed there and like the way that you are supposed to be on OnlyFans is like really, as I said, like so vulgar and so crass and so simple and so stupid. And it's like, I would just like, I want to speak like me, but I also want everyone to know like we can, like I can be me. I can be like, you know, smart and, you know, a really good mom and also like really fucking hot and sexy. And it's like on OnlyFans, you really have to take like, you can't really be intelligent. You can't really have a vocabulary beyond like fuck, cum, and tits. And I think that that's really such a disservice to men also, like to women for sure, obviously. But to men, like they deserve more and they should get more. And it's like all that's out there. It's just like I don't know, like just they're so bored of it. So I'm elevating it.
Do you think the clientele or your clientele will differ from the OnlyFans to Tap?
You know, I'm not really sure who to expect. I'm hoping that it'll be like, you know, every adult male, you know, 18 plus in North America and globally. I'm not sure. You know, a lot of my fans, I have like a weird mix of like early 20s guys and like men. A lot of them are older, like I'd say like 60s. A lot are, you know, recently divorced or in long-term relationships where they're just feeling unsatisfied. But my goal, like I don't want to like, I want to help these men like repair their relationships with their wives. I want them to like when you're depressed at home, it's really hard to better your relationship. So I want to help them feel like good about themselves with like, and so it's like meeting them where they're at, right? They're online looking at porn and like, that's fine, but like, why not? And like what I don't consider them doing porn because it's really individual. There's no partner stuff. But why not look at that and learn to like deep breathe and relax and build confidence so that like they feel better about themselves. And when they're in a good mood, then that's a much better energy to improve your marriage and your relationship or to meet someone new instead of, just like, it's not supposed to be a distraction like OnlyFans. It's meant to be like incorporating this like wellness. It's like a wellness routine.
So with the OnlyFans, I would think that the demographic there is men who just want to get off of varying ages, as you mentioned. And I get the premise behind Tap, that it's more mindful and you want to help. But I'm just wondering how they would navigate that conversation at home. Okay, so let's say it's somebody in a long-term relationship who's bored or whatever, feels neglected. And they've learned these amazing lessons from you off of Tap, which, yes, has the mindfulness aspect as well. But you also say it's tits and ass and positivity. That's the tagline, yeah?
Yeah.
So how would a guy navigate that conversation with their wife saying, hey, you know what I learned from Carolyn off of this app that I pay X amount of dollars for. I mean, I also see her tits and ass. However, she teaches me stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you see that happening?
Well, our tagline's actually where you leave feeling better than when you came.
Okay.
I'm also realistic. Like, I don't think these guys are actually like going to tell their wives. It's just, it's if your wife were to discover it, like it's something that I do for me. Like, I'm all for my husband. Like, go to the bar, go out and have fun. Like, go flirt with someone and like have your own experiences so that we can share that. Do I think I don't think the wife is going to like buy him a subscription. And it's only $15 a month, but it's like, it's something that they do for themselves to feel good. And, like sexual release, like that is healthy, but having a sexual identity is critical. Like, it's really important to people's confidence and well-being. And, it makes you feel more relaxed and it makes you feel more alive. And so it's not for everybody. It's definitely not everybody's cup of tea. Not every wife's going to be supportive. I think my husband looks at porn. I have zero problem with that, like at all. I mean, I personally think if your wife has a problem with you looking at porn, like that's a problem.
I think all husbands look at porn. I think all men look at porn. I don't know. Am I wrong?
I mean, if your husband's looking at porn, then, Tap would be like quite a like, wow, like you're looking at Tap instead of Pornhub. Like, amazing. Thank you. This is incredible. Like, I think it's like really a win-win.
So I'm guessing your husband was pretty supportive of Tap if he was the one that came up with the idea of the OnlyFans.
Yeah, he's totally supportive. I have just the best husband in the world. He's totally into it. He's my beta tester. He's the one who's like, oh, there's a link broken here. There's this issue. And yeah, he's really supportive. He's always found it, he gets to sneak peek at my images. He helps me choose like, oh, this one's good. That one, that one you can trash. But yeah, like he's just very confident. He doesn't have anything to worry about and so he's not worried. And I don't know, I think he thinks it's kind of sexy, like other guys looking at my photos. It doesn't bother him.
So take me back to that night when he first brought that suggestion to you. Like, was it like over dinner? Are you like serving him Monday meatloaf? And he was like, honey,
I don't serve meatloaf. He definitely didn't marry me for that. I don't care. Except for grilled cheese. I make him eat grilled cheese. I think one of our friends started doing it. And it just wasn't that big of a deal for us. Like, we've been we're pretty open about things. It wasn't a moment that even, is a memory because it's just like whatever to us.
So you weren't shocked by it? You just thought,
not at all.
Yeah,
I was like,
maybe.
Yeah, I do have some great tits. Like, yeah.
Come to think of it.
Yeah. It was basically that, yeah.
So the next step for Tap, like you've taken this thing down to California. You've talked to some major investors.
Yeah, no, this is like for real thing. Like, I've put a lot, like basically my career on hold and invested like nearly, I guess, like a year and a half of my life now. And I've been to Spain for it, been to California a couple times, was just at LA Tech Week, talking to investors, and there's a lot of interest, and also like I've learned so much. Like, even if nothing comes of it, it's been like the best schooling, like business schooling possible. Like, I'm so familiar with the startup world now, and beta testing and like Figma and prototyping and payment processors and just all the stages of developing a product from start to finish. And if nothing else happens, like, what a cool experience to have had. Like, if my husband is like, you know what, even if it doesn't take off, which we're pretty sure it will, you know how to build a startup. And that's been like, it's just like, that's priceless. And yeah, I mean, I was in the Pacific Palisades, like just 2 months ago, sitting in the backyard of like Rebecca Minkoff's like business partner's backyard, like for poker night. And like, I've ended up in like the most incredible places with the most incredible people. And like, it's just been a really cool experience.
I think it's going to take off too. I think there's going to be a certain client for it. Like we were sort of talking, in the green room, and I think it's going to be, it's not going to be your average Joe. I think it's going to be your sophisticated user that maybe has, blue collar job, maybe single, maybe married. I don't know, but I think there's a real market for it. I think you're a smart woman, Carolyn. You've always been smart.
Thanks.
How do you? Okay, yes, we're going to manifest it right here. It's going to take off. How do you get into, how do you get those opportunities where you're down in California and you're meeting all these influential people? Like, how does that even happen? How do you even know how to start that?
Like I was like, I feel like I need to go to California. And then I was like, I feel like it happens to be Tech Week. And then I went there and it was amazing. Like with no agenda, like nothing. And then I ended up like in the craziest places. Like I ended up meeting like Gwyneth Paltrow's business partner. And then she invited me to like the Palisades. And then like just night after night, like meeting like at the airport, like people who were like, we're here because we're at Universal Music having, like, let's connect you here and here. And it was just like the most incredible things happened. I met someone who's now like one of my best friends, like sitting beside me at poker night. And we went to like a new moon ceremony. Lady Gaga's neighbor was the Reiki practitioner. And it was just like this crazy shit happens. But it's because like, I don't know. I have no expectations of it. It's not about money for me. It's just like, I want to have this experience and I feel like there's potential and, I could pivot again at any time, but I don't know, it just feels exciting and relevant and necessary.
So fast forward 5 years from now, what do you hope? I know you said no expectations, but
yeah, what do I hope?
Let's say hope. What do you hope for?
I hope that Tap is like a serious competitor to OnlyFans, if not taken over OnlyFans, because it's so overdue for disruption. It's so old and so cumbersome. And I hope to have, it's not supposed to be the Elizabeth Bloom app. It's supposed to be like, there's supposed to be like thousands of creators and millions of users. And, people are just feeling more positive with their sexuality, like more aligned and excited and like that tingle. Like I want people to have like I teach law of attraction and stoicism, and like I just want people to kind of like, that feeling where like things are aligning and like the stars aligned. I want people to have that feeling on like a daily basis, and like sexuality is part of that like tingling, and I want them to just feel good. I want people to feel good.
I think it's so important too for women in midlife, right? Like to try new things, to do new things, to step out of the box. And so many of us are so afraid.
Like I'm 43, like, and I take like nude pictures. Like I never thought, like I have no desire to be famous or seen. Like I'm really I'm very introverted. I don't want any of that attention, but like, yeah, like there's so much that we can do like in our 40s. Like, yeah, like I think it's really cool for other women. Like I love when other like women like my age are like, can I try? Like, fuck yeah. Yes, you can. It doesn't matter like what your body type is or anything like that. Like, yes, like everyone is someone's cup of tea, right? Like it feels so good to like get in front of the camera and like, especially now when there's some filters, to get in front of the camera and like embrace what you are now. Like I just feels good, and I would love to see other women and like know that there's another option. You don't have to like show everything. You don't have to like speak a certain way. You can like be a great mom and a professional and a great wife and be super sexy and make money off that. Like you can actually be that whole person. Like you don't have to just, and I think that's a major revelation for a lot of people, like men and women. You can be both. You can be super sexual and still be professional and a good mom. I think that's like a really massive learning lesson for society, because right now it's like you're not supposed to be a mom and be sexy.
Do you think the courage to do this comes with age? Would 30-year-old Carolyn have done this?
30-year-old might have, 20-year-old would not. I was very like super shy, like so like painfully shy. Like I actually quit my job at magazines. Like I was making a lot of money very early, because there used to be a lot of money in magazines back in the day. And I left my full-time job because I just like, I couldn't stand meetings. Like it was just so emotionally draining for me being with people. And like, no, like I would never take selfies or photos. And so I think with age, I feel like I've like at the age of like 41, I've like finally like came into my like myself. So it's been pretty cool. Like I finally outgrown my shyness in my 40s.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah. Like, so it's like the whole world is like, whoa, I can go places and I can talk to people, when I used to like be terrified of that. No,
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to start this podcast, right? Because I think we're at the phase of life where sometimes you think, okay, well, I've been doing the same thing for, I don't know, decades, really.
Yeah.
Raising kids, clocking in at work, and we get lost in the mix.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of women particularly get lost in the mix at this stage of life. You're so inspiring to me. I just love to see it. I love that you're doing this, and I only wish you all the best. And I think it's going to be amazing.
Thanks.
Okay, so TAP, when is this launching?
So it's been, everything takes longer than you expect because, it's also a high risk industry. It's for some reason, even though there's no PORN in it, it's associated with parking lots and gambling. So it's taken longer, but spring 2025. So right now we're in beta testing. We have about 20 people testing it. So it will be available in the spring, and you can find it at tapful.app. Tapful, like TAP, and then like mindful, powerful, successful, tapful.app.
Amazing. We're going to link to TAP here so you can go directly to TAP and find it. But thank you so much, Carolyn, for joining us. You're always an inspiration to me, and I only wish you all the best.